Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of Morrowind's Modding Highlights, where we take just a brief look at some of the more notable mods that get released each week or month, without getting into a whole detailed showcase here. And today, we're just taking a look at the top 10 mods of May 2020, and overall, there were about 38 mods released in that week. And just as a note here, we are moving this series to a twice-a-week format, so, you will see another episode of this just later this week. But anyway, with that out of the way, as always, down links and timestamps are just down below. So let's begin with our first highlight here, which this time around is the Guar Whisperer by Merlord. One of the more popular mods from the 2020 Marathon. This rather extensive mod basically allows you to tame, breed, and keep Guars as companions, using MWC to provide an extensive array of features and ways that you can interact with your Guars here. This could just well be called the Morrowind Pokemon mod, since you can tame Guars that you run into in the wilderness, and gradually gain their trust by feeding them, spending time with them, and playing games with them, like, Fetch, as you can, just see here. As you gain trust, you'll unlock new commands and abilities, including the option to use Companion Share to shift some of your items to your new Guar friend. You can also level up your Guar by getting into fights, breed them with other Guars to gain new baby Guars, which are, just really cute and adorable looking, as you can just, see here in a moment. And just far too many other features to enlist here. Just rest assured, this is the ultimate Guar mod, and you really should just, check it out for yourself here. Next up, we're taking a look at Sheogorath Grows to the North by Tabaton Claws. This rather massive landscape mod just completely transforms the Sheogorath region, changing it from a basically carbon copy of the Azurian coast into just a true mountainous northern region, with aspects of both Vvardenfell and Solstheim apparent in the landscape here. Based on the original Winds Sheogorath mod by Carrot Ferret, which we showcased way back in 2016, this reworking combines just a lot of the elements from that mod, such as the new dungeons and landscape additions, but combines them with more of Morrowind's just giant mushrooms, as well as new terrain additions like this Stonehenge here. Perhaps most notably, this also includes just a beautiful overhaul of Sanctus Shrine, as you can see here, as well as compatibility support for Redania Restored by R0, and also merges in Epic Dagonfell and Dagonfell Mill, and just tons of other features that we don't have time to, get into here. We have a more detailed video showcase just linked down below, but, rest assured, if you're looking for some more just unique looking landscape mods from Morrowind, this is a great one to check out here. Going on, we're next highlighting Rise Faust Telvanni 2.0 by Mort. One of the most beloved quest mods of all time. Rise Faust Telvanni has just been considered a must-have for Telvanni players for the last decade here, but as with a lot of older mods like this, it has become just a bit dated in some respects, and that's where Mort's 2.0 edition comes in here. While not exactly a flashy update, this new version mostly keeps the overarching questline and modded locations the same here. It does focus on bringing the mod up to just more lore-friendly standards, while also cleaning up the dialogue with grammatical fixes and whatnot, a bit of rewriting here and there, and changing out a few terms, Some stuff that didn't really fit in has also just been cut out here, and a few quest choices have just been, expanded upon. Overall, this is just the new definitive version of this classic quest mod, with potentially more updates planned in the future. So it's certainly worth checking out if you're a fan of House Telvanni, or the Rise of House Telvanni. But, moving on, we next have a Siltstrider Courier by Lucivar and Gavrilo93. This mod adds a new, newspaper service to the game here, based a bit on the Black Horse Courier from, Oblivion. With 25 newspaper editions you can just pick up from various couriers at Siltstrider platforms, detailing news from around the province, like, the Blight Storms, or the murders in Vivec, or even interviews with agents of the Twin Lamps, as well as tidbits from the Empire at large and rumors about various activities. These newspapers will also, on occasion, reflect player actions, so you might find your latest exploit covered in the news, like the Bloodbath in Balmora, or the main quest. And all in all, this is a simple but rather fun mod that just adds a bit more for you to read here, and if that's, something you're into, you should just check this one out. But our next highlight here is Velothi Towers Overhaul by Tel Shadow. And as the name here would just rather imply, this is an overhaul of the various Velothi Towers you'll find across Vardenfell, giving them both exterior and interior overhauls, as well as just expanding them a bit with new areas for you to fight through. Notably, the exterior overhauls are really the most eye-catching element of this mod, transforming the once rather dull Velothi domes into somewhat more epic-looking and dramatic additions to the landscape here. Not only are the exteriors just visually more exciting, but the interiors have also been overhauled to more closely match their new exteriors, and at some locations, like the home the Undead Vampire Clan, have just been largely expanded upon. There's also quite a few just new details here, such as new statues, frescoes, and other just odds and ends. There's a fair bit of content here, and this is just a rather scenic mod to, add to your game here. But, we've got a few more highlights to get to. And next up, we're taking a look at Call Incarnate by Operator Jack and Gavrilo93. This mod adds a new power to the game that you can just unlock over the course of the main quest, after gaining the Moon and Star from Azura. This new power will allow you to summon one of the 6 failed incarnates to your aid in a battle just once a day, and this mod overhauls the 6 incarnates to just better reflect their backstories, and with a random chance to summon one of them, you could end up with a warrior to temporarily aid you in battle, or a mage, or thief, or just a peasant, depending on their background. This is just a rather fun new addition here, that adds just a little more, functionality to the failed incarnates that you meet during the main quest, so they aren't just set dressing, and allows you to summon new companions to battle when you really need a bit of help. For those looking for a lore-friendly and just a balanced companion mod, this is a pretty neat one to, check out here. Moving on, we're highlighting Aura by Teolau, just next here. Now, much like It's a Deal, this is actually an audio and a sound-based overhaul mod, which makes it a bit difficult to showcase in a video like this, what with a narration and everything. So instead, we'll just, be covering the basics of what this mod does with a couple of quick audio samples, and you can check out some more detailed ambient showcases of this mod provided by the mod author just down below. But anyway, Aura is a Lua-based sound overhaul that dynamically adds ambient sound effects such as bird chirping, the sound of the breeze, extended voices for service NPCs, interior weather, and just quite a bit more. This is quite a large mod, which includes sound replaces, a mod config menu, and a ton of options for, customization. But real quick, here's just a look at some of the base sound effects. Now, for a more detailed look at this mod in action, again, just check out the video links down below. And this really is just a pretty impressive sound overhaul, but for now, we must move on. So, next up, we're going to take a look at Glowing Ghosts by Satanol. And as the name here would just suggest, this mod adds glow maps to the Ghosts of Morrowind, including the Ancestor Ghosts and the more just Dwarf variety, and that's pretty much it. Not a huge mod by any means, but it's a pretty cool just visual addition here. And I personally just, I really like how the Ancestor Ghosts look with these glowing effects, which, of course, show up really well with Morrowind's Dark Ancestral Tombs. It's certainly a bit of a mood enhancer, and if you're looking to spice up the ghosts in your game, this is just a great mod to check out here. But anyway, our next highlight is Nimble Armor by Vitruvian Gua. Now, this mod kinda changes the way that armor affects combat by making it so that the type of armor that you wear, whether heavy armor, medium armor, light armor, or unarmored, will increase or decrease your ability to evade attacks. Using MWC, Nimble Armor makes it so that the armor worn by the player or NPCs will contribute to their evasion stats. So heavy armor will decrease mobility, making it easier to land a hit, while medium armor doesn't really contribute anything to your evasion, and light armor and unarmored both increase your chances to evade an attack here. You also gain experience for these last two by just evading attacks, rather than, actually getting hit. This is just a rather innovative and more just logical take on Morrowind's armor system, and it's definitely worth checking out here. Finally, our last highlight is Mechanical Manner Complete by Itina. This isn't actually a new mod per se, but rather an update on an oldie but goodie. Originally released in 2004, the Mechanical Mana is just a bit of an older mod, but at one time it was one of the most popular house mods in the community, winning a place in the Hall of Fame back during the glory days of Morrowind Summit. The author has just re-released it on the Nexus with a number of bug fixes and general cleaning. And obviously, this is a house mod, and a fairly well furnished one at that, with bedrooms, a kitchen, weapon and armor halls, living rooms, all of which just comes with scripted light sources that you can turn on and off, automated doors, a working shower, and just tons of other fun scripted elements. It's a really impressive house mod, and it's easy to see why it was so popular back in the day. But unfortunately, because it does add a new landmass south of Tel Brenora, it will conflict with Tari build, so, that's just something to keep in mind here. But anyway, that's just all of our highlights for today. As always, the down links are down below, so, thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you all next time.